All right. So, hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. This is Nicole Whitlock with the eCom Seller Summit, and we are live right now for tonight's Q&A session. We're live. We're live. We're live. So, we're going to let you guys come on in. If you haven't registered for the eCom Seller Summit, we encourage you. There is still time to go register. You can also watch today's sessions. I actually threw 4 bonus videos up there today. So, there's 4 bonus videos. I threw some videos up there with Norman because Norman is one of our former leaders. He passed away early this month, and we wanted to make sure we honored him. So we threw some videos up there. A couple of videos have Norman in them. We're grateful for that. So go check them out. They're worth watching. They're definitely worth watching. The other thing is that if you are interested in either launching your business, scaling your business, whatever it happens to be, if you've never sold on any platform, register for the eCom Seller Summit because you'll still learn a lot of stuff today. Tony talked about couponing today. So that was a good session. It's all about another strategy for sourcing. Let's see, Claude did retail arbitrage today, another form of sourcing. Keisha talked about video today and how you can use videos to sell your products. That was a great one. And then we also had Pauline from Canada. She talked about, sourcing from Canada. And I just love that strategy all day long. And then, of course, my session, and I talked about a few different things. So just, share this out. Let somebody know that they need to get registered. You can still learn some great information today, just in today's session alone. And again, you got 4 videos from me. So congratulations on that. In any case, tonight, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have with us, this is our sourcing panel. We may have an additional speaker come join us, but this is our sourcing panel for right now. So I am going to let everybody introduce themselves and tell just a little bit about themselves. All right, so go ahead.
Okay, let me go first.
Yeah.
Sure. So my name is Meghla Bhardwaj. I'm based in Singapore, and my background is basically sourcing. I've been in the sourcing industry for almost 20 years, and I started my career in India. Then I moved to the Philippines, China. I lived in China for almost 10 years, and I'm currently in Singapore. Yeah, I speak a bit of Chinese too. And for the last 2 years or so, I've been focusing a lot on sourcing from India, and I've been trying to help Amazon and e-commerce sellers source products from India. And it all started a couple of years ago when the trade war between China and the US started, and people were looking for alternative markets. And that's the time when a lot of e-commerce sellers were kind of coming to me and asking for sourcing from India. And that's when I started a sourcing trip to India. So we took almost 40 people to a trade show in India on an 8-day trip to help them source products. Of course, last year we couldn't do the trip because of the pandemic. And so I launched Virtual India Sourcing Show, which is basically a virtual version of the trip per se. So we try to bring manufacturers on live webinars and help Amazon sellers source products from India. So that's a little bit about me. I'm all about sourcing.
Oh my gosh, you said India, China, Singapore. Okay.
Philippines.
Philippines. I'm sorry, I dropped one off. So there you go. My goodness. So if you need to know some stuff about sourcing, clearly she can answer some questions. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll go next. So I am Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help my home business owners, especially my e-commerce squad, win the tax game. I'm an e-commercer. I'm not like bossed out like these folks up here, but I still do e-commerce, and I am so honored to be here. I am honored to be in the presence of Mr. Sean Mayo. I have told him once before how he saved me. Just a quick story. This was back in 2015, and I hope I don't cry. I was in a bad spot. I really was in a bad spot. When you're in that bad mom, everything is like coming in on you. That's where I was. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I'm like, I just need somebody to tell me what to buy so I can just list it and go. And Sean was started marketing these lists, and these lists saved me because I just didn't have another inch of time to give. And so that was enough to sustain me while I made this transition into tax, who knew I was going there, but that's where I got to. But at that point, I just needed something to sustain me and keep my bills paid. And so you helped me so much.
I have to say, Sean,
Wow.
Sean is a superhero. Sean has saved the world. And I get that, girl. Trust me. I know about the struggle. The struggle is real. It is freaking real. So
Yeah.
Sean, kudos to you and for everything you do.
Yeah.
No idea how many people's lives you've actually touched. Sean you are awesome. You touched so many people's lives. You helped so many people. You blessed people. And yeah, I mean, I think Sean is the man. So you know his list.
You know, listen.
To give to this journey, you need to give one of his lists. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
For real though.
Yeah. Listen. When I tell you, I can't tell you how much that one little list meant to me and my life at that moment.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, I was glad we can help you, and that's that's what we do. We've been selling on Amazon since 2012, and we do all kinds of things for all levels of sellers. Retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale. We make sourcing lists for all that. We have software, as well as our own Amazon business. We have a retail toy store. So we kind of do, we cover everything to help all levels of sellers to grow their businesses from, no matter where you're at. If you were like Lysandra and, don't have any time to do anything except click on a link and go buy that stuff, to get you by, or, you're just trying to grow your business and have so much money that you don't know what to spend it on. We can help you find, lots of wholesale products from big brands to little brands and, retail, online, whatever it is.
All right. So Sean does not do his list any justice, y'all.
None at all.
If you have not checked out his list, you should check out his list. I'm seriously, that is a plug for Sean. So here we go. I want you guys that are watching right now, you have the opportunity to ask us any question. We're talking about sourcing. We're talking about wholesale. We're talking about drop shipping. We're talking about sourcing. Whatever you want to ask, sourcing ideas, sourcing strategies, sourcing locations, sourcing tips, sourcing. That is, I mean, you got to have something to sell and you got to find it from somewhere. So there's a lot of different ways in which you can source. And we may start this round off. But what you have the opportunity to do right now, if you're in the summit and also on the fan pages, you can type your questions in the chat. We will bring you on and we will answer your question. No question is off limits. As long as there's no profanity, we're good with that. You keep that up there. But no question is off limits. So ask the question and we have the people on the panel that can answer. We have a breadth of knowledge and skills and experience here. So clearly we can help you with something. So type your questions in the chat while we wait for you guys to put some questions in the chat. Again, sorry, not in the chat, but also in the comments. Just type on this thread. This is a live on the Facebook fan page, and it's also live in the group. So if you will just type in the comments section, we will bring your question on and we will answer your question. So let's just start with, I will start with just for entry-level people that are just getting started, and we'll just do a round table here. What is one simple sourcing tip, just one simple sourcing tip or strategy that you would recommend that people start with if they're just getting started? Just one.
Okay, so when I was broke, I can tell you, okay. So when I was broke, I started at Goodwill in the book section. And I would go and I would have my little phone and I would just be there just scanning. And, you will find those gems. And that's what I did. So I would drop, $20, but I'd have hundreds of dollars worth of books.
Okay, that's a good strategy. Although the Goodwill, I don't like this is really weird because we're in the pandemic now.
Yeah.
So being able to source books from the Goodwill. So what's an alternative since we're sort of in this weird space? zone
I
right
also went to like secondhand bookstores like Second and Charles and those type places. Yeah, I still go there now when I'm looking for especially a personal development book. I go to the Second and Charles or a secondhand bookstore.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'll add to that. Definitely, yeah. I mean, if you're sourcing at Goodwill and going to those thrift stores looking at books, you want to look for nonfiction. Most of the like fiction and novels
Mhm.
are just so overproduced; they're never worth anything. So, scout out that nonfiction stuff. And another great place is the Dollar Tree or dollar stores. Especially if you have a local, not big chain like the Dollar Tree around you, you can usually find a lot of good stuff there. And there's always going to be a couple dozen good products at the Dollar Tree. I made a lot of videos in the past about sourcing at places like the Dollar Tree, and there's always a lot of good stuff. They get a lot of liquidation, and I've made a ton of money specifically at the Dollar Tree. I've sold, I bought hundreds of an item that I sold for $20-$30 in the past. So they get a lot of good stuff, a lot of discontinued items that people still want.
Okay, it's a good one. All right, Miss Megala, go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, my focus is more on private label sellers, I guess. So, for private label sellers, if you're sourcing from overseas, from China, India, the number one tip that I can give is you have to vet your supplier really, really well. If you can find a really good supplier that meets your requirements, that has experience in your import market, and that can communicate well, half your troubles will just go away. I mean, that's like half the battle won. So finding a good supplier and vetting a good supplier is really, really important when you're sourcing from overseas.
Oh, that is a great tip. That is a great tip. Okay, so this is the live Q&A panel, which means you ask the questions, we answer them. So all you have to do is just type in the comments. So Monday session, we had a boatload of questions. Like we were burning through them. And then Tuesday, we had some good questions. Wednesday, we had a few, but we also had the comedian Mike Weiss on here with us. So it was a hot mess, and the conversation just went downhill. But today, we have us an amazing panel. All the panels were amazing. And so we want to answer your sourcing questions because, again, everybody's just trying to get inventory. So all you have to do is just type in the comments of this video, wherever, if you're watching on Facebook, just type in the comment, and we are happy to answer whatever sourcing related questions that you have. And I forgot to go put a link on our page. So let me go make sure I have that link. So, that sounds like Sean got some stuff going on.
No, it's,
Sean,
yeah,
or somebody else.
smoke detectors going off.
That is the joy of it. Okay. So, this time of year, since it's February, since we're waiting on questions, what is one thing that you think everyone should be sourcing right about now, this time of the year? What is one thing that you think everyone should be sourcing around this time of the year?
Well, if you're doing wholesale, now's a great time to be looking for new brands for Q4. In my opinion. So if you're doing online arbitrage, candy is winding down, so you really have to worry about those meltables, because I know a lot of my clients that are new sellers are, stay away from candy. It's all on sale right now, and it's tempting, but if you're doing FBA, you don't want to be doing that. But right now we're doing a lot of summer type stuff, pools, and because we're in Florida, so stuff there year round. I don't know about other areas, but people are getting ready for summertime. So we're buying a lot of like slip and slides and pool toys. The whatever the pools that you put together, inflatables, all that stuff is awesome. And if you're in a summer state, a lot of the northern states that are snowed in right now, they're thinking about buying that stuff. They're stuck at home, and they're shopping right now. So You know, a lot of people are buying. We already have that stuff there, so I know they're buying the stuff. So, um, you know, any of that kind of summer type stuff, and even if you're doing clothes, you know, swimsuits, you know, bathing suits, you know, beach towels, you know, all that stuff is selling great right now, and it will all the way into summer. So, you know, after we get done with, you know, candy and Christmas time and Valentine's Day, we start looking, you know, towards summer.
Okay.
And I
In
would
terms
just
of,
do whatever
yeah.
Sean says.
So in terms of private label, this is the time when you start looking for, again, Q4 products, like Sean said. So you need to start looking for Christmas decorations, toys, and all of the suppliers now, they actually have, launched their new styles, new designs, their new catalogs. And so now's the time to reach out to them and take a look at the designs. Or if you have your own design that you want them to customize, you want to start getting samples of the products. Because if you're sourcing from India, then sampling can sometimes take, a couple of weeks. In China, things move a bit faster, but India is a bit slower. So it's always good to start early. And Christmas, Q4, that's, I think, now's the time to start looking at products for Q4.
Okay. All right. So here is my tip, and I'm still putting the link on the page. So I'm over here multitasking. So my so my tip, this is the time of year, depending on what your e-commerce approach is, what strategy you're using, what method of e-commerce that you're doing. One of the things that I recommend, like if you're doing retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, always pay attention to what's happening in the stores right now, because what they're putting out is probably what you should be listing if you're doing retail arbitrage, meaning when they first put it out, not after it's been out for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm talking about when they first put it out. So, yeah, just definitely pay attention to what's going in the stores. So right about now, we've got, like, we already know St. Patty's Day is right around the corner. So after St. Patty's Day, typically you would have like the Final Four, but the basketball, college ball, and of course we're in a pandemic, so things are a little weird. People can't really go to ball games, but that's like Sweet 16, Final Four, all that other fun stuff. Then you got Easter, and then after that, Cinco de Mayo, and then I'm talking about the U.S. holidays. There are other holidays that are as just as big in those countries. So if you're selling internationally, pay attention to those as well. And then you're going into Cinco de Mayo graduation. So it could be high school, college, even elementary graduation. People buy graduation gifts. So paying attention to that. I think that when Sean and Megala said, private label, this is the best time to figure out, flesh out what your strategy and approach is going to be. Right now is the best time to do that. If you're thinking about, selling a private label product, this is the time in which to start doing that research, finding that niche, finding that product, sourcing, getting some samples, all of that, so you can start nailing down some things. So be thinking about, in my mind, I think you should be thinking about what's coming in the next couple of months, the next 3 months, the next 6 months, and then also begin your strategy of what you're going to do for what you're actually going to end up doing for Q4. I think because of the fact that we're in the middle of the pandemic, sales are going to be aplenty everywhere, just ridiculously. So don't overlook the opportunity to also be looking for those steady eddies. I call them steady eddies. They are consumables, replenishables, whatever. Don't overlook that opportunity, because people are going to continue to buy online as the numbers get weird and the vaccine rollout is whatever it is, and the variant does whatever it's going to do. People are going to be doing that whole ebb and flow of buying online and then going back to the stores, and buying online and going to the stores. So again, what do people need? What are some of the things that they're going to need to be able to get through whatever we have to deal with, whether it's the variant or whatever? What are they going to need? What do they need to buy? Think about also the seasons. I mean, we have this lovely weather condition here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, not just in Dallas, and Texas in general. And it was really, really weird. Nobody was prepared for it. I can only imagine what would happen if it hit Florida. Like, Florida would be like, what is this white stuff on the ground? Like, it was weird for us. And so we were not prepared by any stretch of the imagination. People didn't know what coats were. So I'm just saying, don't overlook when there are events that happen. So we're about to go into tornado season. So when certain parts of the country get hit more with tornadoes, what are the things that they need to source? What should they have? So what are those things you need to be thinking about after you come out of tornado season? You got the hot summers. If you want to be outside, what are the things that people traditionally buy when they want to be outside more? And also be thinking about all of these weddings and graduations that are probably going to be outside again this year. See, last year you didn't have enough time to ramp up for it. You didn't have enough time to ramp up for summer weddings and graduations. It was like the whole country went on lockdown about around mid-March. Everybody was sort of, or the end of March, everybody was sort of still in a state of shock. We're kind of like, what just happened here? We're frozen. Then we get moving in April. And so in reality, if you're going to buy those things for outdoor weddings, if you're going to buy them for outdoor graduations, you probably should be sourcing them right about now, or you should be looking for suppliers right about now. So again, just think beyond where you are right now. And then again, we're going to have back to school. School's going to be whatever school's going to be. Back to school sourcing, you should be sourcing for back to school no later than April. So depending on what your strategy is, whether you're doing wholesale, doing private label, or whether you're doing retail arbitrage, you guys should be thinking about starting doing your research or buying from your wholesale suppliers at least by May, so you can have your stuff listed and ready to go by the end of June. So those are I probably gave away a whole bunch. I gave away a whole bunch. And Tiffany's on here. So Tiffany, you were awesome last night. I was talking about Michael Weiss. We went downhill really fast. Michael is a hot mess at the end. Anyway, so you guys watched yesterday's and just watch the last 5 minutes. We were cracking up because Michael is a hot mess. But he always gets me in trouble. But anyway, wait a minute. We have a person. I think Barrington is here. What? Barrington is here.
I've been sitting in the back watching you guys, learning a lot. Sean, what's going on?
Hey, Barrington.
So Barrington, nice. I apologize. I didn't see you soon enough. I was trying to bring up the link. So we are taking people's questions. This is a live Q&A, and the topic is around sourcing, all things sourcing. So the question that I was asking, that you probably heard in the background, is what is one thing that people should be thinking about sourcing right about now?
It has to be summer stuff. I mean, starting right now, it's a lot of lawn and garden, patio, all that kind of stuff. Has to be things for summer. Because as soon as you blink, the time is fly by. And it's like you need to be able to have these early. So going out there, looking at the garden gnomes, looking at the lights, looking at the stakes, the garden stakes, all those things. You just go in your Walmart, go in your Home Depot, go in the lawn and garden first and just see. A lot of times if you don't sell on those categories, you're like, I'm not going to go over here. I'm just going to go to groceries. I'm going to go to shoes. But just think outside of what you normally do. That's my challenge for everybody that's listening on here. Think live as to, hey, what are some of the things that I've stayed away from because I wasn't sure, I wasn't comfortable doing this category. This is the year that you need to venture over and start doing something else. So really lawn and garden, that's the main thing. And obviously your replens. That is something, Sean is on here with the wholesale list. The replens, where you can buy over and over and over again and just not luck out by going to a store like, oh, wow, I saw great clearance last week, this week, nothing. You must have wholesale as a part of your game because that's going to keep steady inventory right through.
Absolutely. Okay. And can you introduce yourself while we wait on people to ask questions in the comments? Because everyone else had got a chance to introduce themselves. So can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Barrington McIntosh. As you can see, I'm over here in Jamaica. I'm in the treehouse. I was late getting on. But, I'm doing FBA for the past 10 years, and doing, writing out from Amazon, doing Walmart, doing a lot of different channels. But my challenge.
You're freezing. Are you walking around because you're freezing?
Oh, let me get back in my spot. Yeah.
Yeah, get back in your spot. There you go. Now we can hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me get back in my spot. I was walking around too much. Yeah, but as I was mentioning, I live here in Jamaica, and I've been doing this for 10 years. I have a family, 4 kids, and this is the main source of income. And my challenge to you is, if you're on here or this can work, I'm here to tell you that if I can do it from an island surrounded by sharks, you can do it because you're there in the US. There should be, nothing that can stop you, nothing can hold you back to say, well, I'm not sure if it's going to work. If you are new to online space, you've lost your job and you're just doing this, I'm here to tell you that this works. It works very well, but you have to treat this as a business. It's not just going to be, I'm going to put an hour in it and then put 2 hours and it should work. No, treat this as a real business. Go about it, change your mindset, because like, well, when are you going to get a real job? You're trying this online thing, but when are you going to get a real job? And it's going to be kind of lonely starting out. You need to get around, masterminds or groups that are doing the same thing. But I can tell you, this works, and it works very, very well. So that is my encouragement and motivation to all those listening right now. You can do this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. All right, so everybody, you got introduced to Barrington. We are here to answer your sourcing related questions. You have an amazing panel of 6, 7, 8-figure earners up here. So let's do this. Let's ask these questions. Just type your questions in the comments section. We are happy to answer them. So one of the first things that we, of course, we introduced ourselves. We talked about what you potentially should be sourcing right now and what is one sourcing tip. So we started with those just to kind of fill the time, but we're waiting for you to ask your questions. So all you have to do is just step up, step out, type your question in the chat. Don't be shy. If you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it. Trust me, if you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it. So ask your question in the chat and we'll go from there. So I know that Sean does a lot of wholesale, and I know that Barrington does too. Wholesale does need to be part of your strategy. So, Sean, do you have any suggestions? Like, is there, and also, I know Miss Megala has access to a boatload of information. So, so do you have any suggestions on maybe if there was one wholesale supplier that had a variety of, if I am not a niche down person, I haven't niched down yet, I'm new to the game, one wholesale supplier that you might just recommend? I know that there's a lot of different options, but I know that there are some wholesale suppliers that have a variety of different products. So is there any one or maybe two that you recommend that have a variety of products versus those that are niche down?
I actually suggest that people don't go to those wholesale distributors that have a ton of different brands, because you're just throwing a lot of that money away.
Okay.
There's only a handful of brands out there that won't sell direct, even to a small business. So, and I think I mentioned this in my class, but you're paying for a warehouse and shipping to them and all their sales people and people to ship and profit and all that stuff, where you could just go to those same brands and you could open your own accounts and buy from them. The only ones that really don't do that are the really big brands. People like Hasbro, Duncan Hines, and those giant like grocery brands. They usually have some big distributors that they go through, and as well as like big companies like Hasbro and toys, and I'm sure there's some in other categories, but for the most part, we've lost all of those big box stores. Fry's just closed. They were still a pretty big chain, not by me, but on the other coast, and Kmart and Sears and, Toys R Us, you name it, have gone out of business over the last decade. So where you wouldn't be able to get accounts open in the past, now they're more open to working with small businesses again. It used to all be about, small businesses and, downtown hardware stores and, buying direct, from the brands. And then all the big box stores came and they could sell 100 truckloads of one item to Walmart. And, so then they started not wanting to deal with the smaller brands and wanted them to go through distributors. So now, it's going back, the way it was in, whatever, the 50s, 60s, 70s, where you can actually be buying from these brands and not having to buy, a whole truckload or, tens of thousands of dollars at a time. So, you know, you want to deal with the brands whenever possible.
Okay. And Ms. Megala, do you have any, you want to answer that same question?
Yeah, so in terms of private label, if you do want to source different types of products and you don't want to specialize in a particular category, I would suggest try to look for a trading company in China or India. And the advantage of going to a trading company is that their MOQs, or their minimum order quantities, are very low, because trading companies source different types of product categories from various manufacturers, and they, sometimes even have ready stock available. So if you're looking for a product that doesn't require customization, or you don't really need your branding on the product, you can actually just source those products that are in stock in the with the trading companies, and then resell those. So some examples of these products that I can think of are like fidget spinners. Let's say spinners were really, really popular, and you wanted to get, a box of thousands fidget spinners to sell. You don't necessarily need to customize them or have your own, branding on them. You can just buy these fidget spinners from a trading company and then resell them on Amazon. So there's one trading company in China specifically that I can recommend in case people are interested. It's called Richforth, Richforth. And if you go to the Global Sources website, globalsources.com, and just search for Richforth, it's a really big trading company, very well established, and they deal in a variety of product categories, from apparel to toys to electronics. So any product that you're really looking for, they have separate departments for each of those products, and you can work with the trading company. You can get small MOQs, and a lot of times communication is also easier with trading companies because they have a lot of English speaking staff, and they really focus on the marketing of their services. So yeah, try reaching out to trading companies.
Okay. All right. Okay, so great tips. All right, so we have our first question. We're going to bring that up. You guys can see it. Hopefully you can see it. And say, hello, is it okay to do arbitrage, wholesale, private label in one Amazon account, or just stick with one business model? Will my account get suspended, or if I do one model? I already know the answer, but go ahead if anybody wants to answer that question. Well, let's get everybody's opinion. So we'll just start with, Barrington, we'll start with you. What is your opinion on that question?
It doesn't matter if you do all three models, in terms of, but for me, I like when you can focus on one, get it done right, don't dabble. So don't start all three at one time, and then
Right.
you're gonna be like, but he said to do all three. No, if you're gonna do wholesale, start with that, focus, get it right. When you have a couple wholesale accounts, you're getting it sent directly into Amazon, that's humming, so that's on autopilot. Then you move to the next model. Okay, now I have this one good, then you move to the third one. So it doesn't matter if you're selling all three in the same account. The most important thing is that you don't dabble. You focus, you get one done properly, and then you move on to the next one.
All right. Okay, Miss Lysandra, do you have some insight on this question?
So I'm a little bit more about, I always think lawsuit. That is what I think. So for me, if I would have private labels separate from the arbitrage and wholesale, just simply because of, I think about, even as a tax person, I just think about the litigation factor. Like, people come to me, should I have an LLC? Well, one of the reasons that you have an LLC is to add some legal protection. So, if something happens, with that private label type thing, and it's got your name, it's really got your name on it. If something happens to that, you're not got a whole bunch of drama going on in your other stuff. So for me, I'll separate it just for that reason. But otherwise, just go sell stuff.
All right, Miss Megala, and then Sean.
Yeah, so I would say if you're building a brand, then you probably want to separate it from the other stuff that you're doing. And it doesn't have to be a separate account. I think you can also maybe, just have separate brands on one Amazon account. But I feel that if you are building a private label brand, you want, all your products to sort of tell a story, your brand story, and you want your products to be kind of related. I think that communicates to people that, yes, this company specializes in this product category, and therefore their product quality will be better, their customer service will be better, whatever. I mean, even as a consumer, if I go to Amazon, if I see a company that's selling like electronics and water bottles on the same page, I'm like, okay, what does this company really specialize in? So I feel that if you are building a brand, then it's maybe better to have related products under one kind of under one brand.
Okay. And Sean?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone said, it's perfectly fine to have them together. I mean, I don't do private label. I don't usually think about I'm not usually thinking about that kind of thing. So, I mean, you might want, if you have adult toys and children's toys, you might not want those on the same account. I'm a big toy seller, so, I have a toy store. So, that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about and worrying about. So, and that's a good excuse to get a second account. You can't just open a second account, and you can't, just tell Amazon you want a second account. You really have to have a good reason, and that's one of the best reasons, I think, or the best reason to tell them. As well as if you have a brand established and you want to sell those other items, I think that's something that Amazon would be open to as well. If you're trying to get in, two accounts, but again, if you get suspended on one, they're probably going to suspend the other one. So, there's not in my opinion, it's a lot harder to run multiple accounts than to run one. You got to make sure you don't have any duplicate products. Because that's another thing you get suspended for. So, you want to negate, as many reasons to get suspended as you can, because it's so easy to happen. So, having two accounts that, they know are linked, just opens up a lot of problems. So it's not really the question, but, it's okay, but you probably want to keep on one account as much as you can.
All right. And so I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to answer it a little bit different than everybody. So if you are truly trying, like if you're starting the game, as Barrington said, don't dabble. Just don't be messing around. If you're going to do it, do it. And this question is focused on Amazon, but I think beyond Amazon, because we do all things e-commerce. So beyond Amazon and including Amazon, can you do all three on the same account? The answer is yes. However, if you're going to actually really be building a true private label brand, like maybe you're selling, I don't know, bottle tops, something that maybe a bottle holder that goes on a bicycle. And so you don't want anything you want you want to market that bottle holder for bicycles. You want to show videos of people, using that bottle holder. You want to do all of these amazing things, have video footage. You want to have photos. You want to have, like, maybe it has a unique like insignia or something like that. Then you probably, if you're going to take this private label product serious, you probably want to start it on Shopify. You can still do whatever you're doing on your e-commerce business, or either start your own website and start marketing that thing. And then if you want to cross sell it onto Amazon, that's a different story. But if you're building a true brand, when people look at brands on Amazon, they're also potentially looking for the website that it goes to. And so if you're going to be selling just your random retail arbitrage and wholesale stuff and a variety of different things, that's fine. But when you're ready to get serious about your brand, then that's when you probably want to take that brand and maybe list it on a completely different platform, like maybe build your own Shopify store or build your own website, so that way that brand gets its due recognition. And then think about that long term, as far as, where are you trying to go with this? Like, are you going to be building a whole bunch of bicycle accessories long term? But you're still going to be doing some retail arbitrage on the side. You're still going to be doing some wholesale. You're doing some replans. You're doing all this other stuff. But you're really going to build this whole bicycle accessories thing. Then build it and let it be its own thing. So then that way you can market it different. You can sell it different. You can do everything you need to do differently, so that when people are pulling up your product on Amazon, they really see the entire brand itself. So that's my recommendation. So starting off, you can do all of them together. But long term, think about where you want to go with something. So if you're just getting started, you can do them all. All right. So we have our next question. And so, guys, anybody that's watching, if you have a question, type your question in the comments because they're supposed to come up. I also go to the other pages just to go see if I can find them. But we do have a question. It says, do you have any tips, tricks, or insight on drop shipping on the various platforms? Where to start and where to stay away from? All right. Who wants to start this one?
I'm a pick one and boss it out kind of girl. Because one of the things, and I did it, this is how I can say pick one and boss it out. because you're trying, especially when you're just getting started, you're just trying to make money. So we're going to put whatever, we're going to put it everywhere and all of that. And if you don't have systems in place to track your stuff and where you listed stuff and all that, you mess around and forget. And then that product is no longer available, you're going to start, it's just going to start to tank. So just pick one platform and really learn that platform, boss out on that platform before you go starting something else. Because I tried to do it all. I tried to do Amazon, eBay. I tried to do, what's Bonanza. I tried to do all of that at one time. It was not a good look. It didn't work out.
You didn't have the right tools to be able to do that.
I did not have the right tools. As a matter of fact, what got me was a bike. I will never forget this stupid bike. And it sold out so fast. And then, but it was still out there on Bonanza, and somebody ordered it. And I was like, and I had to cancel the order. And so my rating on Bonanza just went, it was just terrible.
All right. Okay. So anyone else want to take a stab at the answer? Well, I just get everybody's opinion on the answer to this question about, drop shipping on various platforms and ones to stay away from.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion is don't do it. I'm not a fan of private label, but I do want to, what you want to stay away from is any big box store. You're not allowed to drop ship on Amazon from any big box store. It specifically states in the
terms of service. Yeah.
Right, in the Amazon's terms of service, purchasing from another online retailer and having that retailer directly to customers, if the shipment does not identify you as a seller of record or anyone other than you appears on the packing slip, invoices, or external packaging. So that knocks out every, big box store, Walmart, Target, Home Depot. It can't be in a branded box. It can't have any kind of invoice or any name other than you going to the customers, and they will complain. You see all those big, $1 million, sales from these guys, but they charge a lot of money to do those things, and they're all against the terms of service because most of them are drop shipping from Walmart, and they don't care once they get your money. So you really need to do your due diligence if you're going to be doing drop shipping. And a lot of times it's not a lot of profit because you don't really have to come out of pocket that much. You're not buying the stuff, you're not processing it. So it seems like it's easy, but stuff goes out of stock all the time, and then you're stuck with a bad feedback or worse, and you get suspended and you cannot prove the things that they want you to prove. So at that point you're done on Amazon. It's a big violation to them. They don't want Walmart boxes going to Amazon customers.
eBay doesn't want it either, but she did a clarification on her question. So she meant wholesale. So establishing wholesale accounts with a supplier and then drop shipping, establishing wholesale. That's what she means. But yeah, you don't want to, I agree with Sean. I'd never tell people to drop ship from the big box stores. You're going to get into a lot of trouble on any of the platforms.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
that's
Barry.
a business model. That's a business model we stay away from. You have to do the work. You have to do the work first, get stuff rolling before you even, like a lot of people say, okay, I want it to be easy. But you need to understand the processes. How does this work? What does it mean to really make a customer happy and come back and buy from you over and over and over? I mean, we sell coffee, and we've had customers with us since 2012. spending $7,800 on coffee, $60 a pound coffee. So my thing is, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not just okay, do some drop shipping, make a quick buck, and then I'm done. You have to understand the process. So you need to do the work. You need to do everything, label the boxes, whatever, get started. Then you'll do a wholesaler. Then that wholesaler can go right to Amazon, and then Amazon can hold it for you. Or another, prep center can hold that for you, and they'll fill your orders. But I would never recommend drop shipping. I'm not saying, everybody has their own tolerance level, but it's so easy to stock out and then bad feedback and then your account is suspended. It's just not worth it. I really don't see it being worth it.
All right.
I would just add to that. I totally agree. I think dropshipping is just such a scary and risky model. However, if you do have a good relationship with a supplier in India or China, it can work, and especially if you have a Shopify store. Maybe it doesn't work on Amazon because that gets very tricky. But if you do have your own Shopify store, it might be able to work. But again, there's so many suppliers on AliExpress, and I find that all the products on AliExpress are, way overpriced, and the quality is very dicey. So I would not advise people to go to AliExpress and do drop shipping from there. But if you can find a good supplier and have an agreement with them, and then do drop shipping on your Shopify website, that might work. And I'll give you an example. In India, there's this one company that makes doormats. And the doormats are made from this very biodegradable, eco-friendly material called coir. Coir is actually the husk of coconut. And so they process the husk of the coconut and they make doormats from this material. And they do drop shipping. And what they do is they can even customize the doormats based on, whatever your customer wants. So let's say you have a Shopify store and you're selling their doormats, and you can sell whatever designs they offer and everything, but you can also offer customization on your own Shopify website. So a customer can come into your website, they can have their name or whatever printed on the doormat, and then, the order goes directly to the supplier in India. They process or they create the doormat, and then they ship it directly to your customer. And so that sort of a relationship, I think, is better because, you're working with one supplier, that they have good quality products, and you have sort of an agreement with them. You have a contract with them. And, you've decided on the shipping costs and the charges and everything. And you can be sure that the product quality that your customer is getting is really good and it's going to be shipped on time. So I think that sort of a drop shipping model might work.
Yeah. And I agree with both what Barrington and Megala said. So I think dropshipping can work, but you do need to establish accounts. Going with Alibaba or AliExpress, just if you're going to get samples from Alibaba, AliExpress, and then figure out, find a wholesale supplier, find a manufacturer that can actually do that for you, and then establish a relationship with them, that's fine. But starting off with Alibaba and AliExpress, like you can get caught up with them running out of stock or inventory on stuff, and then you're holding the bag. Does it happen all the time? No, there's a lot of people that have a very successful Alibaba and AliExpress dropshipping model on Shopify. But long-term, bigger picture, again, to stay in the game long-term, as Barrington says, because we're in it for the long game, not the short game. We're looking to always keep the lights on and keep water coming out of our faucets. That means paying the bills. You need to have a long-term strategy. So you need to figure out which way you want to go, what that product or products are going to be, who's going to be that manufacturer, and establish an account. Either use a fulfillment or prep center, send to have the stuff sent from the manufacturer to the prep center and have them ship it if the manufacturer is not going to do it for you, or work it out with the manufacturer where they can send it directly from the manufacturer to your customer, or wholesale supplier directly to your customer. So that's how you can successfully do drop shipping and not get caught up long term. So, all right. So we have another question. Okay. So what are some of the sellers? I don't know what that means. Sellers from India. You mean suppliers? I don't know what you mean by that. And the wait time as long as China. So I'm not really sure that I fully understand. I'm going to try and interpret what you mean. Like, I know we just came off the Chinese New Year, right? And so the manufacturing plants are going to be opening up, or they're already open. I never know the exact dates. So I know there's Chinese New Year, where all the manufacturers are shut down for like 40 days or something like that. And there's some processing that maybe they shut down for 10 days, but they're still open, but there's no manufacturing work being done. That I do understand part of it. Megla probably knows way more than I do. So are you meaning what are some of the suppliers in India, not sellers in India. Maybe that's what you mean.
Or some of the products, because
Yeah.
usually, I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of sellers. And what most sellers do is OEM production. So you go to them and you give them your design, and they will make it for you based on your requirements. They will do your packaging, your branding, your customization. So yeah, there are hundreds and thousands of sellers. The wait time is actually longer in India.
Okay.
So, because a lot of the products in India are handmade, and so typically it may take longer. For example, the delivery lead times in China can be about 4 to 6 weeks, whereas in India it can be 8 to 12 weeks. So that's the delivery lead time after you've placed the order. So that's something to keep in mind if you are sourcing from India or China. You have to plan way in advance, and that's why I said now is the time to start looking for your Q4 products and start doing your sampling with the suppliers. So yeah, the wait time is definitely longer, and I feel that China is so efficient with everything. They've been doing this for like 20 years, and all the exporters are very efficient, and they have these systems in place. Whereas all the other countries like China, Vietnam, Indonesia, they are, the first of all, they have a more sort of a work-life balance. I have lived in China for 10 years. I know they're really fast-paced and they want everything done yesterday, and they are very efficient. But in other countries like India, it's more of slow paced, and they also have more of a work life balance, and they take things kind of easy. So maybe it's also a cultural thing.
Could be. Could be. All right, so we're looking for some more questions to be dropped into the chat. So sorry, if you have any questions, just type in the comments. We are happy to answer them. Anything that's sourcing related, it could be sourcing, doesn't matter to us. It could be retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale, private label, it does not matter. Replans, whatever your question is around sourcing, we're answering sourcing questions tonight for the next 10 minutes. So if you got a question, you've been sitting on it. Okay, so I'm just going to say this. You have 6, 7, and 8 figure earners in front of you right now that can answer your questions about sourcing. When is the last time that you actually got to sit down? It's kind of like sitting across the kitchen table with somebody to ask them the question you wanted to ask them. Like, this is the time to do it. This is not the time to diddy dally. I can't even say the word right. This is the time to ask the question that you've been wanting to ask. So don't be mad when you say, well, we didn't get to ask our question. Yeah, well, we told you.
And you know what's interesting, Nicole? I learned this at a conference in Orlando in 2013. Chris Green, he went on stage and he's like, listen, if you conference, go and buy one of the speakers' lunch and sit down. You could sit down and get $1 million idea just from, and I can tell you guys this right now. Whenever I go to a conference, I have my go home moment. I'll stop just talking to one lady. Like, for example, I was at a conference in Dallas. I think it was Joy Packard's conference. Houston. I said Houston. Yeah. And
April.
Yeah, that was it. And this one lady, I've been thinking about getting a Shopify store, and I'm thinking, I got to be up late and talk with a developer, and I just can't get it done. And this is a lady that was brand new to Amazon. I said, well, I said, do you have a Shopify store? She said, yeah. I said, how do you get it? Did you pay a developer? She's like, no, I don't have time for that. So I said, what do you do? She said, I went on Shopify Exchange and I bought a store. When I looked at her store, it was magnificent. It was a tea store. She was selling teas from India, all over the world. And she said, I bought the store. That was it. My ticket from Jamaica was paid. My hotel was paid with that tip. Everything was paid. I left the conference instantly, went back to my room, took my laptop, and I purchased my Shopify site that I'm using right now for $900. That's what I did. So one tip can make you so much money. Just one tip. You have to talk. You have to ask good questions. And you ask good questions and you are amazed. Let me tell you something. If anybody, I'm at a conference and anybody from anywhere in the world comes and talks to me about coffee mugs, anything that has to enhance coffee, I will talk to you for the whole night about coffee. That's my passion. Figure out what the speaker's passion is and talk to them, and they will talk to you all night. They will tell you all their secrets. It's so easy. It's very easy. I just learned that from going to conferences. Very, very simple.
And I'm going to add to that. So if you ever get a chance to sit down and talk to Barrington and you get to talk to him about, you start the conversation on coffee, anything, any question that you ask about coffee, you can apply it to any other product. Whatever his answer is, the answer can apply to any other product. It doesn't matter if you don't plan on selling coffee. The question, the answers to the question, he's giving you the processes, the methods, the approaches, the techniques, the strategies that he's using. So whatever they are, write them down and apply it to whatever you're selling. So if you're selling bicycle accessories or ballerina slippers, it's still the same process.
Yeah, I think, especially, when people are like him and Han about, buying the all access pass, like my link is not there, so I'm not getting anything out of this, is that, doing the free thing is fine, but you're not going to get it just on the free thing. You're going to need to go back and rewind and all of that. So it's not like you're buying to go look at all of it all over again. You're buying for that one thing, like Barrington said, that one nugget that resonated with you, so you can take that nugget and implement it and boss that completely out. Like, so you can't, all this stuff here, it's not designed for you to go do everything here. That's not the purpose. The purpose is for you to get that one thing that's going to help you take your business to the next level and focus on that, not try to do all of it.
Yeah.
The successful people, they take action. They just, it's all about doing something. I could pick up one wholesaler from Sean, but if I don't call them up, if I don't get the Excel spreadsheet, if I don't figure that out, it doesn't make any sense. But once I do that and start to take some action, you look at that residual income. We're selling in the UK, Germany, Spain. I have never been to Europe. I've been to the States. I've never been to Europe. But I know when an email comes in and says Guten Tag, that means I'm getting some serious money.
Look,
I have a question for Barrington.
There you go. Ask it. All I want to say is, if y'all were not like there, that was golden nuggets just right there. If you're not paying attention, you should be getting it going. Then you into a place where you stabilize it and master it, and then you should scale it and go international. He just told you that's how he does it. Okay, go ahead, Miss Megala.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, have you looked into importing coffee from India?
Do you know that my main takeaway from today is that I need to call you when I'm done with this? That's all I have to say. That's my main takeaway from this. When you spoke about those maths from India, listen, I love India. I watch cricket all the time. I'm from Jamaica, India, West Indies. So,
yeah.
I have to talk to you. That's all. I want to leave the time for these guys who are asking the question, but we'll talk after.
Awesome. Cool.
This is gold. We did a connection on Tuesday. We had a connection on Monday. This is gold. These guys have just doubled their money, and they haven't even met each other. Both of them are about to just double their money. Okay,
and they might think that's like, oh, we need us to come back to this maybe a couple months down the road and say, hey, what did that one conversation lead to? Because I know it's going to lead to something. I can tell you that.
It is.
I already see that Megala understands the whole importing process and bringing it from India. That is, for me, like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Somebody already knows how to do it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So
relationships are everything. Relationships are everything. Build that relationship.
The currency of your business.
Yep. He's getting ready to level up, y'all. He's going to go to a 9-figure here in a second. All right. Okay, so we don't have any other questions. So we're going to say final thoughts, suggestions about sourcing. We're just going to do a roundtable, final thoughts about sourcing. So who wants to start? Take it away, and let's just do the roundtable.
I will. Actually, I did want to say I was actually at that same event with Chris Green, and that's how I started my coaching business, was because he said that exact thing to me, that I needed to, be selling my information. And, I went home from there, and, that's when I started, we started making online arbitrage lists and doing, coaching to other Amazon sellers, within a week of that. So that, that one same moment, changed my life and has made me lots of millions of dollars just from that one, that one thing from Chris. Like I, I give him like all the credit for my business. Without Chris Green, I started out, and a month later, I had Scan Power, and I mean, I'm still using Scan Power, his software, and I've been to a bunch of his events. But that one, him, sometimes you need somebody to just say, "Go do it." I'm smart enough to know to sell information, but I didn't think to do it until he said, go sell your information, and it's changed the whole trajectory of my life.
That's right.
And in return, Sean has changed a bunch of other people's lives. So don't let it fool you. Like sometimes, so I got to. I'm gonna interject for just a second. So I believe firmly that we are here to be a blessing to each other and be blessed by each other. I believe that it is in everything that I do, that we are here to be a blessing to each other and to be blessed by each other. So Sean Green blessed Sean. Sorry, Chris Green blessed Sean. Okay, Chris Green blessed Sean, and they were supposed to meet. It was destined for that conversation to happen, and in return, Sean took action and did what he was supposed to do so that he could be a blessing to Lysandra. It all comes full circle. Everybody that's on this panel, we are all servant leaders. We care about people's success. We care about people at an intimate level that, there are other people out here selling programs that maybe are in it for the money. We really do want to see you win. And Sean is people that really wants to see you win. So, I mean, everybody on here is, but I just want you guys to just make that connection in your mind. That conversation not only affected the Chris Green conversation, not only affected Barrington, but it affected Sean. And both of them were destined to go do something to bless somebody else. And in return, it continues. It's a ripple effect. So thank you, Sean.
Can I
Go ahead,
can I add to that? The same thing happened to me. I was at a conference, and this is a conference that I organize in Hong Kong, Global Sources Summit. And 3 years ago, somebody mentioned to me over there, "Hey, do you have any suppliers in India?" And at that time, I was not looking at India, and I was working with Global Sources. I had a cushy corporate job and everything, and I was like, "Yeah, India. Amazon sellers don't go to India; they're just sourcing from China." But later there were some circumstances, and I had to look for something different to do. So that thought about that person's suggestion at the conference, like sourcing from India, and that triggered this whole thing that I'm into now, where I'm actually running a whole business sourcing from India. So yeah, it was at a conference, sitting across this person having lunch, where they're just talking about sourcing. So I cannot agree more with you. I mean, conferences, we're just waiting to go back to conferences and sourcing trips for sure.
Yeah, we tentatively have one planned in August of this year. We are definitely going to be like, everybody who wants to come on. But we're waiting to find out what the COVID numbers are going to be. But yes, conferences.
Yeah.
Something about
also my tip. So you asked about a tip or something. So what I would say is look into private label. I think all of the other business models are great. You can start with that, but I feel that if you start doing private label, you build a brand and around a specific product category, around a niche. It's definitely more valuable in the long term, especially if you want to exit the business. A lot of the aggregators nowadays, they are looking for brands that are consistently turning a profit. So if you do want to maybe exit your brand in 1 year, 2 years, the private label is definitely the way to go. So I would suggest, it does seem scary because you're sourcing a product from thousands of miles away. You don't even know the supplier. You've never met them. You've never been there. You don't really know who's the person behind the screen. Or sometimes you don't even have a video call with them. You're just talking to them by email. It is very scary. But if you do it the right way, it can be very, very profitable, and especially in the long term.
All right.
So I will say this: do not despise small beginnings. So the conversations I get, because I do get eCom sellers that call me and they've gone and bought somebody's way cool course and they've got this whole big old setup going on. The first thing I ask is, how much have you sold? and they're doing all this getting ready to get ready and going and get all this stuff, but they haven't sold anything. And they still don't know what to do. And what do I send them? I send them. I was like, you need to stop listening to those people. You need to go find Nicole Whitlock and learn, because what happens is that you get in here and you're trying to make millions of dollars today, and that's just not how it's going to work. So in whichever platform you use, whether it is the wholesaling, whether it is the private label, whether it's retail arbitrage, retail arbitrage is great. It paid my bills when nothing else would. Okay. But I say, just don't despise small beginnings. Keep at it. Stay focused. Come to things like this. Get that one nugget that's going to help you get to the next step. That person that's making $15 million a month really probably can't help you as much as somebody who's making $10,000 a month. Somebody you need to get in a community like this where people actually do care about you. And I'm always honored to be here because I'm the tax chick, right? Because Nicole also knows that I care about you. It doesn't make sense for you to go make all this money and then you're writing a fat check to the government, right? Nobody likes to pay the government. But you still got to get in and get started, stay focused and stay consistent. And that's when you build that success in this online market space.
Nice. It's so good to hear different perspectives. But just going back to my story real quickly, being here in Jamaica, and I'm thinking, I hear all the stories. I hear all the stories all the time. Wow, this person made 10,000. This person made 5,000. Oh, he's $1 million seller. Initially, I said, yeah, right. Like, that's going to happen. But you know what? I had the mindset that, hey, I'm going to follow somebody that has integrity, take small steps, work towards it. Okay, I'm doing 1,000 a month. All right, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. Doing 4,000, then I'm doing 8,000. Then it just keeps growing. But the biggest thing that you want to do is after you start sourcing, even at your local stores, when you start sourcing, and let's say you're in Walgreens, start to build relationship with the store manager, with the department managers. That is the most important currency that you can build. Because I can tell you, I was in the supermarket just buying coffee in the supermarket. And one lady came in and she was stacking the shelf. She said, I see you in here all the time. Why don't you just go down to the factory here and purchase by the cases? I'm like, what? You could do that? And she said, yeah, you could go to and that conversation took me from 0 to 1 million. One conversation. And I went there, started to do my thing. And the owners called me up and said, hey, what are you doing? You're selling more than we are online. What's happening? And I, went in, told them what we're doing. And they said, okay, well, I said, how can we help you? I'm like, well, I could get some credit. That would be nice. Boom. That was the conversation that led to, okay, go ahead. We'll start you off with, 10,000, see how you work. And then it just kept going up. And one time I went down there and I'm saying, hey, and they're like, listen, just take what you need. As long you're paying us, just go ahead and take what you need. Relationships is business relationships, the most important thing. So after doing all your sourcing, build those relationships and stay true to your word. Just, make sure that you are true to your word. Don't tell somebody, oh, I'm going to come and pay you next week. And then you go around. Never do that. Your credibility is going to add so much to your bottom line because you're just going to get referrals all over the place. They're calling you, hey, but you're taking Nicole's product online. Why can't you take mine? Until you have to stop people like, okay, no, I can't take anybody else. I'm good right now. So that is very important. And you can start at your local grocery store. Build that relationship. They will start to call you, hey, we have a truckload of this one in. Oh, hey, this one is selling so well because they know you're going to come in and purchase. Very, very important.
Yeah. All right. So we hope that this session was a blessing to you all. I gave away a boatload of nuggets, I guess, at the beginning. But if you do have questions, we'll periodically check this thread. If you haven't grabbed the All Access Pass, we want to encourage you to grab the All Access Pass. We also have a boatload of giveaways tonight. So we have 3 giveaways at 9 o'clock. So come back to the fan page. And we might be doing all those drawings because Barrington is giving away, I think it was 3 people who are going to get his BOLO program for the next 10 months. And 1 person is going to get his coffee program for the next 10 months. So I think we're drawing a boatload of names tonight. I think I'm going to be on there for a while. We got a bunch of stuff to give away. So if you didn't get registered, go get registered. First of all, you got to be registered in order to be eligible for any of these drawings. Well, you got to register and you got to grab the all access pass. So everybody who grabs the all access pass is going to be entered into a drawing where I think we have 16 bonuses to distribute. So that's a lot of bonuses to distribute. And then we also have our regular 3 giveaways. So come back, check it out. So Sean's coaching. So Sean, we have a person that is looking for coaching with Sean. Sean is awesome, guys, and get his list as well. We love some Sean over here. Sean's been a blessing to everybody. We tell people like, okay, our wholesale partner is Sean Mayo. That's who our wholesale partner is with eCom sellers. So our coffee partner over here is Mr. Barrington. So now we have an India partner with Ms. Megla. So, hey, and our tax partner is Ms. Lysandra. I'm just telling you, it's the truth. So, so anyway, thank you all for being part of this panel. I thank you for your contribution and for being here to answer questions for people. And we will say goodbye for now.
Yeah, and Nicole, I just want to say you're doing such an amazing job with this summit. I mean, this is the first time I'm being part of this summit, and there's just so much positivity and so much great information that you're sharing over here. So really good job. Well done.
Oh, well,
excellent work.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, you guys know, when myself and my business partner, we've always been doing this, but we were just all over the place. And somebody said, hey, you got to meet Nicole because she's so organized and project oriented. Now we have a 5-star website. We have all of our stuff organized, put in places. And that was what it's like. As soon as she did that, like our income just went up. You have to meet the right people. You just have to get organized, and that will help to grow your business. Very important. Very, very important.
It is very important. I don't plug often, but I do funnels. And so, yes, and I help a lot of people on the side. So I do some private coaching for people who are looking for project management, private coaching. So anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You were awesome.
Bye.
I appreciate you. Bye for now.